Oh, boy. Was the decision to renovate the unit based on the result of this test?
Well, objection, that's vague, ambiguous.
All right, what was the decision to renovate the unit based upon?
Well, the problem I'm having with your
Renovate.
is what renovate means. I mean,
Okay, the floors were ripped out, the walls were cut out in the area of the sewage flood.
I believe I think I can figure out what you're trying to ask, and I will try to be responsive to what I believe you're trying to ask. After Western Environmental did its test, State Farm sent a company that they use called Service Master, and they were assigned to check out and report back on the findings in the report, and as a byproduct of that, because they thought they would be doing some work in the unit, they, in accordance with what I understand are the regulations, the OSHA and Cal OSHA regulations, they had to test the materials that they would be surrounded by, which they did, and they found asbestos in the walls. Actually took a sample and tested it, and it came back as there's asbestos. Then they reported to State Farm that they would need to take out certain walls and remove the asbestos first, or that would have to be done first, in order for them to do the work that they had been asked to do. Then State Farm authorized Service Master to subcontract to Alliance Environmental to remedy the asbestos containing walls, to remove them, I believe is probably the better word, not remedy, to remove them so that they could do their work.
Okay, I'm going to backtrack. What caused the decision to have to engage Service Master and then Alliance? I mean, the initial causal factor that made you decide to go forward with a renovation of this type?
I did not make that decision, and I would like to go on record as making that very clear. State Farm made that decision. They paid for it. I did not make that decision.
Based on what data? On the
I had already told you that's asked and answered, young lady.
hold
Don't
on.
call me young lady.
Wait. Let's not, this is way early here. Let's not.
Don't start with me.
Both of you, I can hear the argument in your voice as well. It's going to go a lot easier. If you have any idea what you're going to pay, you don't do a whole lot of these. I do them every day. You're going to pay a lot of money for this. You want to make it worthwhile, so you don't want to spend time arguing with each other. I'm going to actually serve as a mediator here. Joe, you too as well.
I apologize.
That's okay.
everyone.
Let's
To you
go
too.
ahead, and he's going to do his best to answer your questions. You're doing fine.
Okay.
Wait, let me just make sure. Unless you want to abandon that question, my understanding of the question was, what was in State Farm's mind as to why it is they initially decided to engage Alliance? Well, the answer to that question is an objection, which calls for speculation as to what State Farm was
Thanks,
thinking.
I understand. Who ordered the test from the environmental company that found the E. coli?
Western Environmental, are you referring to?
Yes.
I did.
So then, did you then, after the E. coli was found present, contact State Farm?
Yes. Of
And-
course.
And they then decided to send Service Master?
That is correct.
Then Service Master then decided to send Alliance due to the age of the building?
It was not due to the age of the building. That was not ever stated to me that was their reason at all. It was because the walls that were tested came back with asbestos levels in excess of what the Cal OSHA and the federal OSHA requirements are so that workers could not take the materials out, work around the materials until it had been removed. Those are work regulations, as I understand it, and State Farm handled all of that.
Okay, you've had a lot of experience in real estate. What years in buildings were these materials that we now know to be hazardous used, asbestos and lead? Do you have that knowledge?
Well, what you're asking
I don't
him,
understand
hold
that.
on. You're asking him his expert opinion as to when asbestos and lead paint were used in.
Yes.
Do you really want to spend your time doing this?
Well, I just
I
want...
mean, what difference does it make?
All right, is this building pre-1978?
Yes, of course.
What year?
I'm going to try
Okay.
and help you. I really am. I mean,
All right,
it's not, you should be paying me for this advice, because the bottom line is you want to cut through this and you want to get as much as you can for your
Right.
defenses. You're wasting time here. When all that was used is not relevant, because we already found lead and asbestos in the building. We know that.
Okay.
So do you really want to spend your time doing this? I'm trying to help you here.
Well, I'm trying to be,
And I don't
I'm
wanna
trying to
here
be
all day
methodical.
either.
So,
All right, you do your deposition. It's your privilege to do the deposition as you want. I'm actually, I can't help you here, but I'm trying to give you at least
Okay.
some guidance on what you ought to be doing.
all right, let me cut to the chase. Once it was decided to renovate and to hire Alliance due to the asbestos found in the walls of the unit, I have to ask, do you remember that asbestos was also found in the kitchen floor?
Do you know whether asbestos was found in the kitchen floor?
I don't recall whether it was found in the kitchen floor. I don't think that was something that was particularly even talked about, because it didn't matter. The materials would have to be removed anyway.
Question, Joe, pay attention to the question.
Okay,
It was just
sorry.
simply, do you have any knowledge yourself that asbestos was found in the floor? Yes or no?
Kitchen floor.
Kitchen floor. If you do, say yes. If you don't, say I don't know.
I don't know. I don't, not that I recall.
Okay. Whose responsibility was it to inform Alliance of the open floorboards to the garage below when before work was commenced?
Let me just object. That's vague and ambiguous. Calls for speculation. Lacks foundation.
I
Actually.
guess what I may ask is there a project manager assigned to this project when it first began that worked on your behalf, Dr. Klatt, or was it all just left
Okay.
up to the contractors?
It was all left up to the contractors. I believe I think you've got something a little bit out of order. My understanding was it was Alliance that took out the plaster walls and took out the flooring. It was not Service Master, it was Alliance, so they obviously knew what they were doing.
When were you apprised of the asbestos spill in the garages beneath the project? Approximately.
The best answer I can give to that, because you're asking me to make a determination here about whether dust had asbestos in it or not, and the best answer I can give you to your question is you emailed me that the barrier, and you had photos with it, the barrier, the containment barrier that Alliance had put into place had breached, I believe was your word at the time. I contacted Alliance, I notified State Farm, and I notified Service Master, all these by phone.
Okay, who viewed the photos? When I do send photos over, who views them and describes them to you?
Various people.
Would you say that they're involved in the management of the premises by
No.
performing these tasks?
No.
They're assisting you as assistants? Are they
No.
remunerated for
No.